Gryffindors. Let's kick things off with Gryffindor because, yeah, they're the ones everyone talks about. This house is all about bravery and courage, like they're the kids who'll charge headfirst into danger without thinking twice. Their founder was this legendary wizard named Godric Gryffindor, and he basically wanted a house full of the boldest, most daring students he could find. We're talking about people who stand up for what's right even when it's terrifying, even when everyone else is too scared to move. Gryffindors are the heroes of the story, or at least they think they are. Their house colours are red and gold, super bold and flashy, just like their personalities. And their mascot? A lion. Makes sense, right? Lions are brave, fierce, king of the jungle and all that. Gryffindors wear that lion symbol with pride because it represents everything they want to be. Strong, courageous, unshakable. The Gryffindor common room is up in one of the towers, hidden behind a portrait of this lady called the Fat Lady, and you need a password to get in. It's cozy in there, all warm reds and golds with a fireplace that's always roaring. It's the kind of place where you can crash on a squishy armchair after a long day of classes and feel like you're home. Now, Gryffindors are known for being impulsive. They don't always think things through before they act, which can get them into trouble. They'll jump into a fight to defend a friend, challenge authority when they think something's unfair, or take massive risks just because they believe it's the right thing to do. That's their whole deal. Act first, ask questions later. Some people think they're reckless, others think they're inspiring. Either way, they're impossible to ignore. They've got this energy that's infectious, like they genuinely believe they can take on the world and win. Gryffindors also value chivalry, which is basically old-school honor and doing the right thing even when it's hard. They're not just brave for the sake of being brave, they're brave because they care about justice, about protecting people who can't protect themselves. It's not always about glory for them, even though they definitely enjoy the spotlight when they get it. And let's talk famous members, because Gryffindor's got the star-studded lineup. Harry Potter himself, Gryffindor, Hermione Granger, the smartest witch of her generation, Gryffindor, Ron Weasley, loyal to the core, also Gryffindor. Even Albus Dumbledore, the greatest wizard of all time, was a Gryffindor back in the day. This house basically produced the people who saved the wizarding world. They've got bragging rights for days. Slytherin. Now let's talk about Slytherin. And oh boy, this house gets a bad rap. Like seriously, people hear Slytherin and immediately think dark wizards and villains, but that's not the full story. Yeah, some seriously evil wizards came out of Slytherin, but reducing the whole house to just the bad guys is way too simple. Slytherin is about ambition, cunning, resourcefulness, and determination. These are the kids who know what they want and will do whatever it takes to get there. They're strategic thinkers, master planners, and they don't waste time on things that won't help them reach their goals. The house was founded by Salazar Slytherin, one of the original 4 founders of Hogwarts, and he had some pretty specific ideas about who should be in his house. He wanted students who were pure blood wizards, meaning their whole family tree was magical with no muggles involved. That belief caused a massive fight between him and the other founders, and eventually Slytherin straight up left the school. But his house stayed, and his values, minus the pure blood obsession for most students, lived on. Slytherins are proud of their heritage and their house's long, complicated history. Their colours are green and silver, sleek and sophisticated, nothing flashy or loud. It's classy, it's elegant, and it fits their whole aesthetic perfectly. Their mascot is a serpent, which doesn't exactly help with the whole villain image, but serpents represent cunning and transformation. Slytherins aren't afraid of change. They adapt, they evolve. They figure out how to survive and thrive no matter what's thrown at them. The Slytherin common room is down in the dungeons underneath the Black Lake with these gorgeous windows that look out into the water. It's dark, it's moody, it's got this mysterious vibe that totally matches the house's reputation. Here's the thing about Slytherins. They're not evil. They're just ruthless when they need to be. They're goal-oriented to the extreme, and sometimes that means they'll bend the rules, manipulate situations, or make questionable choices to get ahead. They value self-preservation and success, and they're not afraid to look out for number one. But that doesn't mean they can't be loyal or brave or kind. It just means those traits aren't what define them. A Slytherin will be loyal to you if it serves their interests or if they genuinely care about you, but they're not going to throw themselves on a sword just because it's the heroic thing to do. Famous Slytherins include some seriously complex characters: Severus Snape, total Slytherin and arguably one of the bravest characters in the entire series, despite not being in Gryffindor. Draco Malfoy, the platinum-haired bully who eventually showed he wasn't as tough as he pretended to be. Tom Riddle, who became Lord Voldemort, the darkest wizard of all time. And Horace Slughorn, who loved collecting talented students like they were trading cards but also had a good heart underneath all that social climbing. Hufflepuff, and next up is Hufflepuff, and real talk, this house gets overlooked way too often. People act like Hufflepuff is the leftover house, the one you get sorted into if you're not brave enough for Gryffindor, not smart enough for Ravenclaw, and not ambitious enough for Slytherin. That's absolute garbage. Hufflepuff is actually the most inclusive and arguably the most important house at Hogwarts, because they value the stuff that holds everything together. Hard work, loyalty, patience, and fairness. These are the people who show up, put in the effort, and don't need a spotlight to feel good about themselves. The founder, Helga Hufflepuff, was basically the most chill and accepting of all the founders. While the others were picking and choosing students based on specific traits, Helga was like, "I'll take the lot and teach them all the same." She didn't care if you were the bravest or the smartest. She cared that you were willing to work hard and treat people with kindness and respect. That attitude made Hufflepuff the most welcoming house, the place where everyone belongs. If you're dedicated, dependable, and decent, you're Hufflepuff material. Their house colors are yellow and black, bright and cheerful like sunshine, which totally fits their vibe. And their mascot is a badger, which might seem random until you realize badgers are actually fierce little creatures when they need to be. They're not aggressive for no reason, but if you mess with them or their home, they will absolutely throw down. That's Hufflepuff energy right there, kind and patient until you push them too far, and then watch out. The Hufflepuff common room is down near the kitchens, tucked away in the basement with round doors and these cozy tunnels that feel like burrows. It's warm, it's inviting, and it smells like fresh-baked bread, half the time because the kitchens are right there. Hufflepuffs are the most loyal friends you'll ever have. If you're in their inner circle, they'll stick by you through anything. Good times, bad times, absolute chaos, doesn't matter. They're the ones who remember your birthday, who check in when you're having a rough day, who will help you study even when they've got their own massive exam coming up. They're not flashy about it either. They just do it because that's who they are. They believe in fairness and justice, not in the loud Gryffindor way, but in the quiet, steady way where they make sure everyone gets a fair shot. People think Hufflepuffs are pushovers, but that's a huge mistake. They're patient, sure, but patience isn't weakness. They're humble, but humility doesn't mean they lack confidence. Hufflepuffs know their worth. They just don't need to shout about it. They're the hardest workers at Hogwarts, the ones grinding away at their studies and their passions without needing constant praise or recognition. Famous Hufflepuffs include Cedric Diggory, the Triwizard champion who was brave, talented, and genuinely good. Nymphadora Tonks, the aura with the pink hair and the incredible Metamorph Magus abilities, and Newt Scamander, the Magi zoologist who literally wrote the book on magical creatures and saved the wizarding world in his own quiet way. Ravenclaw. Last but definitely not least, we've got Ravenclaw, the house for the brains, the dreamers, and the people who are constantly asking, but why? Ravenclaw is all about intelligence, wisdom, creativity, and wit. These aren't just the kids who get good grades, they're the ones who genuinely love learning for the sake of learning. They're curious about everything, they question the world around them, and they come up with the most original, outside-the-box ideas you've ever heard. If there's a puzzle to solve or a mystery to crack, you want a Ravenclaw on your team. The house was founded by Rowena Ravenclaw, who was considered one of the most brilliant witches of her time. She valued intelligence above everything else and wanted her house to be filled with students who were hungry for knowledge. But here's the thing, Ravenclaw intelligence isn't just about memorizing facts or acing tests. It's about thinking critically, being creative, and having the wisdom to know how to use what you've learned. Ravenclaws are independent thinkers who don't just accept what they're told. They dig deeper, they analyze, they form their own conclusions. Their house colors are blue and bronze, though the movies messed this up and made them blue and silver, which annoyed a lot of fans. Blue represents wisdom and clarity, while bronze adds that extra touch of distinction and achievement. Their mascot is an eagle, not a raven like you'd expect from the name. Eagles soar above everything, seeing the big picture from way up high, and that's exactly how Ravenclaws approach problems. They step back, look at things from different angles, and find solutions others miss. The Ravenclaw common room is up in a tower, one of the tallest in the castle, with this stunning domed ceiling painted with stars. But here's the cool part. There's no password to get in. Instead, you have to answer a riddle every single time you want to enter. If you can't solve it, you're stuck outside until another Ravenclaw comes along and figures it out. Ravenclaws can be a bit eccentric. They're the ones who get lost in their own thoughts, who stay up until 3 in the morning researching something random that caught their interest, who have the weirdest hobbies and the most niche knowledge about obscure topics. They're not always the most social because they genuinely prefer spending time with their books, their art, or their ideas. But when you do connect with a Ravenclaw, the conversations are incredible, deep, thoughtful, and always interesting. They value originality and creativity just as much as raw intelligence. A Ravenclaw might not have the best grades in the traditional sense, but they'll come up with the most innovative spell modifications, or write the most beautiful poetry, or solve a problem in a way nobody else even considered. Famous Ravenclaws include Luna Lovegood, the wonderfully weird girl who saw the world differently and never apologized for it; Cho Chang, Harry's crush and a talented Quidditch player; and Professor Phileas Flitwick, the charms master who was brilliant, kind, and an absolute legend in dueling back in his day. And that's the 4 houses of Hogwarts, each one unique, each one legendary, each one shaping wizards in totally different ways. Whether you're brave, ambitious, loyal, or brilliant, there's a house that fits you perfectly. The Sorting Hat never lies. Please like and subscribe.